My name is Kira, and this is Chapter 6 of Boxcar to Nowhere. Chapter 6, Night Ride. Hope stood in the center of the boxcar, her arms spread widely along with her feet. She swayed from side to side as the train gathered speed. Jazzy was seated in front of her, watching her face attentively. Her fear of the strange man intensified in the near darkness, only the light being filtered through gaps in the door, as well as along scattered vent holes near the roof. Noise and clatter from the steel wheels beneath her feet intensified as the train reached its intended speed. Hope looked around, squinting to make out details, finally recognizing a set of steel rungs leading up one corner of the car. Above the ladder was the outline of a hatch of some sort. As she studied it, thinking of escape, it came to her that the man they had seen could use this hatch to shoot down at them, and there would be no place to hide. She wondered if there was a latch on the inside, but in the darkness she couldn't see any details. She made her way across the moving floor and stood under the hatch, holding onto the ladder. There seemed to be a handle on the inner side of the hatch, but she realized that the ladder would have to be climbed to try the latch. She grabbed the steel ladder and held on, thinking it through before ascending. The swaying would be much worse near the top, and she hesitated, not quite finding the courage to go up. At that moment, there was a progression of loud banging sounds, as slack in the couplings was taken up by slowing of the train. High-pitched squealing came from underneath as the brakes were applied. The train slowed, and then she felt the push to one side as the train slowly came around a bend. Hope realized that this was her moment to act, and she started up the ladder, her shoulders bumping against the rusted wall of the boxcar. Finally, at the top, she took hold of the handle and pulled as hard as she could. The latch slowly engaged just as the train started gaining speed again. Finally, she could relax. They couldn't get out, but the strange man couldn't get in either. Back on the floor, she patted Jazzy's head and spoke to him with a trace of anger in her voice. "Jazzy, see what you got us into? We don't know where we're going, and we have no money, and there's a crazy man out there wanting to hurt us, and it's all your fault." Immediately, she regretted her anger toward Jazzy. He was just trying to do his duty and catch the fugitive. Then it hit her, and she saw the situation clearly. Jazzy had found and taken down a man, but it wasn't the one he was tracking. Pop and the other policemen have captured the wrong one. The fugitive from prison was probably riding the same train as they were, and would know that Jazzy could and would track him down once he got free. Hope let out a big sigh and slowly lowered herself into a patch of loose straw. Jazzy lay beside her and placed his big head on her lap. Whatever happened, they were together and Jazzy would protect her. She knew that, and so did Jazzy. As the train rumbled its way through the Great Plains to the Midwest, day gave way to night, and any meager available light in the boxcar transitioned to complete darkness. It was so black inside that Hope couldn't even see her feet, nor Jazzy, but she felt his cold nose touch her frequently, and all she had to do to contact him was extend her arm. She rested against the cold wall, trying to get comfortable, and occasionally drifted off to sleep, awakening briefly to become aware of the train horn or the swaying car, then falling backward into her flickering dreams. And in those dreams there was light and warmth, and her father's kind face bending over her, assuring her that he was there for her and always would be so. Then the momentary awakening, realizing that her back was hurting and cold, and that the train was getting further and further away from her home. The despair would clutch her, pummel her and hold her in its grasp until she fell asleep again to escape back into her previous world. As some Scant light seeped into the moving boxcar. Jazzy sprang to his feet, his attention on the overhead hatch. Hope awakened enough to see him standing there, his teeth showing, and a low, threatening growl vibrating from his body. Hope's brain surged into fully awake, realizing that there must be some threat coming from the hatch. And indeed there was a subtle noise, a metallic sound which rose above the train noise, a sound that indicated someone was trying to open the hatch from above. Hope rose to her feet and watched the hatch just as Jazzy was doing. After a few moments, the sound went away as the train noise rose again to hide any other sound. Someone was on the roof of the boxcar trying to open the hatch while the train was still underway. It had to be Tate. He was riding the train with them, intent on keeping Jazzy from tracking him, whatever way he could. The day began long and hot inside the boxcar. There was no food or water, and no way out. Hope considered the hatch again, longingly, looking at it and thinking about how to get back down to the ground, if she managed to open it. Then there was Tate. He was up there lurking about. Nope, going through the hatch wasn't going to happen. Hope sank down again, her back against the wall, her head supported by her hands and arms. Where were they, and where were they going? There was a change from outside the train. It had been slowing gradually for part of an hour, and now there were sounds which could only be made out by other trains. They were not stopped yet, but it seemed to Hope that the train was winding down, about to come to a full stop. Occasionally she could hear voices and the sounds of trucks. It reminded her of the rail yard they had originally come from. Could they have returned? She hoped. With a jerk, the train fully stopped amid the sound of its couplings compressing. They both intently listened, expecting to hear voices coming their way.